putting on. And so I think it's all spiritual. Like when people are like, you don't write just Christian songs. I'm like, no, I don't. Because humanity is innately spiritual. Like it is spiritual for me to admit something about, a relationship with a guy or a relationship with my parents or how I feel about a certain thing. If it makes somebody else in the world feel seen and not alone and closer to God, because there's not this weird wall between them and God anymore, because somebody else said what they were thinking first.
Sure.
And so now they can admit it too.
Yeah. I love
or
that.
like now they can connect beyond whatever that wall or that weird shame thing was too.
Yeah.
Like if me being confessional helps someone else feel less ashamed, I'm doing the Lord's work in my brain. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get it.
And so I'm just kind of, I think the power of fear, like I really don't have a fearful relationship with songwriting.
Yeah.
I don't care if it's the nastiest, grossest, worst thing someone could possibly know about me.
Yeah.
I will sing it in a song.
Yeah.
I don't care. Like I really don't. And even if there's a part of me that's like, scary.
Yeah.
I don't care. At the end of the day, like my actions are going to be in line with, I don't care, because I do believe that I'm operating from a place of a gift that God gave me. And of course there's like boundaries and responsibility with that. And
Sure.
I'll always be growing in that. I'll probably listen to this podcast in 10 years and go, Emily, you're so young and dumb. I'll probably say that in 10 years and that's fine. But I have no problem being what I am right now.
Sure.
Right here.
I love it.
And for better or worse, like I think music is the most transcendent, powerful thing in the world. You can listen to a song and you're different when it's over.
Yeah.
You feel different. You feel freer. You feel uncomfortable, or you feel happy.
Yeah.
You feel just like, sweet, good vibes,
Yeah.
And it's just like, it shifts the atmosphere in humans, in the world. And I don't think anything's off limits as long as it's true. And I go into this job with that attitude because I know that I've been empowered to like use my gift in that way.
Yeah.
And I believe that.
Yeah.
And
yeah, that's why I admire you so much, because like you do like you're just any genre you're doing it. And I think that's been hard for me too. It's like I was raised in the church and come from a Christian background, and was given a gift to sing and songwrite and stuff. And you have to like stop when you grow up, like you have to like question, okay, well, Christian music kind of seems like the path, because it makes sense, and but yeah, I mean, I think you nailed it. Like you've been given a gift, and I think that there's always ways to point people towards that bigger purpose. You mentioned a lot, like you said in your lyrics and stuff like that. I think about like, okay, well, if everybody in the Christian church was like not everybody in the Christian church is like gonna become a pastor. Like we're not, like we were all given certain gifts. And I think about like the people that are not necessarily in Christian music, but they're in the sort of secular, I don't even like that word, they're in the non-Christian music. But then you gather this audience and they love this song, and then they see, oh well, this girl or this guy is like, there's like a faith aspect to them, and that kind of attaches them to that, and now they're like kind of exploring that part of their life. And so I'm all for it. So I really do admire that about you. And
thank you.
That's one of the things that we want to do with this podcast. Like we don't want just people in the Christian field or like doing the Christian music thing or pastors and stuff. Like we want everybody that kind of comes from a faith background to share like, this is what I'm doing, and this is how I'm pointing people to a bigger purpose.
It's really cool. Yeah.
And
I will say I've had to learn, with Christian culture, I used to be very like anti like church people, Christian music, like. But I think like at the end of the day, I've had to learn like you know, I don't have to go in somewhere and change it. Like, I think people mean well is what I think I'm getting at. Like,
Yeah.
you know, we're probably running out of time, and I'll make this really fast, but like, I remember with Thy Will, I largely based my faith off of whether or not I had had sex. Virginity was just like an easy rule to like latch onto as a Christian kid. And so for me, Thy Will at the time, I had given my virginity away, and I just like it. That was a big faith crisis for me, because I did the one thing I said I swore I'd never do that my whole faith was based off of. And so then I had to kind of go back and say, okay, the one thing I've always based being a Christian off of, I can't say anymore. So why do I believe what I believe? What do I believe?
Yeah.
It was definitely a redefining moment for me as far as my faith goes. And I when we went to the Grammys and like won a Grammy for that song, I did an interview and they'd asked me like what the song meant to me. And I told them the story, because again, like, to me, I was like, they asked me, this is what happened. I didn't try to dress it up for anybody, and not in a shocking way. It was purely, they asked me. So I purely told them like, well, I grew up thinking this, and you know, whatever. And I got a lot of backlash. Like, they didn't even post the interview. And I remember just people coming at me like, who's this whore representing Christians at the Grammys? She's the devil's using her, not blah, blah. And I just remember I went on this tear for like 5 years where I just like hated Christian people. And I was one. But I just like Christian culture and church people and people who listen to Christian music, like, who don't want the real story. They want the dressed up pretty story. Like, you're allowed to say you're broken, but you're not allowed to say why you're broken. Ooh. And you're allowed to sing about being broken, but you have to be redeemed by the time you're singing about it. It has to be like an in the past thing. Wow. You're not allowed to be in process. And it just used to really piss me off. And I kind of like thought I was being a hero, like trashing them and dissing them, and had to get to a point where I was like, these people mean it's their way of loving. And in a lot of ways is like, they believe a certain thing, and I can't go into a place and disrupt it and expect like change to happen. Like, I had to have some like ego death there about like, you know, I had to grow in compassion and grace, just like I wanted them to grow in for me. You know, like, they truly thought that they were saving me from hell or whatever it was, like, by calling me out on that. And